this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
It's a celebration 250 years in the making.
And we want everyone in America, from Maine to Montana, from Alabama to Alaska, to be a part of it.
This year marks America's 250th anniversary, and we're coming together from coast to coast at Star-Spangled events, live performances, and the largest day of giving in American history.
Join the nationwide celebration at america250.org.
Deciding on what to listen to is hard. Using Zumo to stream music from iHeart 90s Radio is easy. Or play iHeart Country Classics Radio or Hip Hop Beats. Your choice, all for free. Stream easy with Zumo Play. Get live and on-demand entertainment with no logins, no signups, no accounts, no hassle. Get cozy on the couch and binge your favorite movies like Awakenings starring Robert De Niro, Looper starring Bruce Willis, and more. All streaming free on Zumo Play. Go to play.zumo.com now. Life is hard. Zumo is easy.
As a consumer, you decide which companies succeed with your purchasing power. Pure Talk wants to say a heartfelt thank you for choosing them. Because of you, Pure Talk had a record-breaking year. You've helped them donate over $500,000 to America's Warrior Partnership to help prevent veteran suicide. You also help provide 1,000 hand-sewn, made-in-America flags to veterans, and you're supporting U.S. jobs by choosing a proudly American company. From the Pure Talk family, thank you for your trust, and God bless America.
Mom, can I have Lingo Kids? Dad, Lingo Kids, please!
When did we become the Lingo Kids house?
No idea. Last week it was dinosaurs. This week it's...
Lingo Kids!
Why Lingo Kids?
Because it's the best thing ever. We can play games with astronauts, wild animals, and superheroes.
With more than 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows, Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids.
So, no dinosaurs?
And dinosaurs! Lingo Kids!
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
Welcome, everybody, to Clay and Buck Thursday edition. It's going to be a doozy. Got to start with this. My beloved, truly, no irony here, New York Knicks winning the first game in San Antonio against the very formidable San Antonio Spurs team. The Knicks in 6. You heard it here first. Some people are saying it might even be sooner than that, but I'm saying the Knicks in 6. It's going to be...
What were the odds Buck will open up the show talking about a sporting event that he watched, that he is super excited to watch every second of, and make sure that he jumps on the air and talks about immediately?
15 hours a week, Clay. You are rubbing off on me a little bit here. 15 hours a week, buddy. Going on 5 years here, so it's been a while.
Yes.
So yes, indeed. But Clay, it was a beautiful game. It really, that guy Brunson, guys, don't worry. We're going to talk about Trump and Iran and true crime stories and fraud. And we've got someone joining to discuss the huge, we're going to get into all this. Just give me a second here with this, okay? That guy Brunson is incredible. Truly. Not just because of how good he is, but the fact that in a league now full of 7-footers, 7-foot plus guys who can shoot the three, who can move, and who have point guard level ball handling and passing skills, to be Brunson, who looks like a very sort of, mediocre to low NBA player by physique, be the closer in the league. I mean, the guy's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's incredible. It's inspiring.
He's only,
the fact that the Dallas Mavericks, your boy, what's his face, let him go. What's his name?
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban let this guy just slip through his rich fingers. Just goes to show you never know.
He's only 6'2", and I would point out, and this is going to be a crazy scene, President Trump says he's going to Game 3. So in the Garden, NBA Finals, I don't know what the reception is going to be like. I don't know what the scene will be like. I imagine that it will be crazy. Courtside seats are going for what, Buck? Like $100K?
Oh, no. More.
Even more.
More. There are people, there are NBA Finals tickets, Clay, VIP courtside, have been listed for $500,000 to $1.4 million a pair.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
A lot of hedge fund guys deciding to cash in, because that is a crazy amount. That's got to be the most expensive sporting ticket of all time, right?
I think
can't
so.
even think of anything close.
It's a quick way to get a Hinge date. You just put on there, I've got 2 seats courtside. I think you'll be inundated with takers on that one. But nonetheless, it's a something of a Cinderella story. This team that has been through so much and so many very bad years as a franchise, and now they look like they're poised to win their first championship in 50-something years. Anyway, so I watched every second of it last night. It was fun. It's like exercising some of the demons of my youth, watching the Knicks get destroyed by the Bulls, beat by the Pacers, beat by Houston in the finals, OJ's car chase scene interrupting the finals, all that stuff. It's all coming back to me. But okay, for the Knicks fans out there, amazing for us. The Knicks are going to win. You heard it here. This is where we're going. Brunson is like a basketball deity. He's incredible. And I also like this Mr. Karl Anthony Towns. He's a very fun player to watch. A lot of interesting emotion out there. Great team. All right. It's not a sports show. I know. Don't even send those VIP emails. We've got other things to get into. And I'm going to tell you this is going to get pretty intense at different points of the program, given some of the stories we're going to address. Before, though, we go there, couple things that are high up on the agenda. You know, Clay, I saw Dr. Oz. He came by the Normally, which is the Mary Catherine Ham and Carol podcast. They threw a party for me in D.C. for the book. Really just an excuse to throw a party, but, you know, people got free books, which was great. And, you know, Dr. Oz came by. The fraud thing, it's a little bit of like a Doge moment here, Clay, where once people have actually gotten the keys to the system and begun to really look into it, the amount of fraud going on in this country, when I say amount, I should say the dollar figure of the fraud.
I was visiting a facility called
is jaw-dropping. And let's start with Todd Blanche here. This is cut 1 in Ohio, talking about the DOJ looking into this. Play it.
Today, the Department of Justice is announcing significant fraud enforcement in the state of Ohio, as well as a historic fraud-fighting partnership with state of Ohio officials, which is exactly how it should be in every state, one that can serve as a template partnership for other states in this country. We welcome everyone, everywhere, to team up with our fraud division and our federal partners and our U.S. attorney's offices to bring fraudsters to justice. In total, between our state and federal partners, today we're announcing charges that were either unsealed today or over the past week against 14 defendants allegedly involved in fraud schemes targeting over $50 million here in Ohio. And again, these numbers are staggering, but just the tip of the iceberg, both here in Ohio and nationwide.
Clay, this is going to get deeper and deeper. This is going to look scarier as people understand. Remember, on the one hand, we are held to these incredibly intricate, would be one way of putting it, rules about our taxes and our businesses and our regulations. So the Democrats will particularly push endless ways to harass and take money from people that are trying to do things the right way. In their personally, as a business, as an entity. And then on the other side, they just let people go out the backside of the bank with bags full of cash whenever they feel like it, and nobody cares. This has to stop. I mean, this goes to more than just the dollar loss. This is just the loss of faith in the functioning of our whole system.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think the biggest challenge as we break all this down is how much is there? How much fraud is there? And almost, I would say, the huge majority of it is all embedded in healthcare cost. There's a lot of fraud in our government in general, but the fact that you could have, even in a red state like Ohio, this amount of fraud, I just, it comes back to what I think is the original sin here, which is the government being extensively involved in our healthcare system. It's made everything more expensive. No one has any idea what anything costs. No one has any idea how their healthcare works. In fact, you're listening to me right now. One of the least favorite things that any of you could be required to do is actually get on the phone with someone at your healthcare company and try to have them explain why the charges are what they are. It's totally broken. And I think it's probably, look, the tax code is a joke, but the tax code is, you're able to manipulate some aspects of the tax code. The healthcare system is just broken. I mean, it is just utterly, completely broken. Even every aspect of it, Buck, the fact that employers provide healthcare is a mess. Most employees don't know that the average healthcare is costing sometimes $25,000 or $30,000 a year. I think a lot of people out there that are employees would like to get their own healthcare spend as part of their salary and say, hey, let me go out and see if I can find something that better fits my family, that better fits what I need for my lifestyle. It's just, it's fundamentally broken. And all of this money, for those of us out there, all of you that are working super hard, that are working 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 or more hours a week, multiple jobs, you're giving money to the government and the government's just lighting it on fire. It's incredibly frustrating.
Well, they're actually giving it to like Somali fraudsters in Minnesota, and it's not being used. It's lit on fire from the perspective of not going to what we want it to. But the other side of this is there are people who have become incredibly rich by running the most straightforward scams. If you're a medical practice and you bill $250 million of prescriptions, Clay, one doctor did this in California. One medical practice under one physician, $250 million of, think about how many, bottles of whatever that would have to be. And it took them 5 years to track this guy down and figure it out. I mean, this is the other part of it. And you're talking about the healthcare system and the breakdown in it. There are about 650,000 healthcare administrators in this country right now.
I know.
We've got about as many healthcare administrators. I'm not saying for any of you who are going to, Buck, I'm a nurse and I work so hard. No, you're not an administrator. Well, you probably know that if you're a nurse. I'm not talking nurses or doctors or physician assistants or whatever. Those are all people who do healthcare. We actually need more of that. We have a lot of people who are bean counters either in the hospital system. And in those cases, by the way, some of those guys and gals are making huge salaries.
Yes.
And you know what their salary is mostly comprised of? Figuring out ways to get as much from the government as possible and as much from the patients who can pay as possible to make sure that all the illegals and the indigent people who come in get free healthcare. That's actually the job of the modern hospital executive. And you see all these other administrators and stuff, they're just processing the paper of endless frustration that we all have to deal with our insurers about all these stupid changes and ridiculous regulations, and we don't know the prices, and we can't go to this pharmacy, and we can only do mail order from that pharmacy, and all. It's just, we're creating a Sovietized system. We are fighting against the progress of better drugs, more efficient telecommunication, more efficient computation, more efficient everything, and somehow we keep making everything more expensive and worse. It's truly remarkable when it really is a case study in the opposite of a free market system, unfortunately, or a system that is increasingly strangled from being free market. But Clay, the fraud aspect of it as well, we are all paying for that.
Yes.
When you have $100 billion of Medicare and Medicaid fraud in the country, how many of you feel like you're being squeezed if you're on Medicare or Medicaid? How many of you feel like you're not getting what you need? $100 billion would go a long way to helping, wouldn't it? Well, that's going to people that are driving around in new Ferraris because they are bilking the system and not getting caught.
I just come back to, I think the government should be cut in half. And I think the government would be far more efficient if we could just cut half of all government spending. I think we would be in a better place.
This is like, there's this whole, we didn't talk about it, but there's an interim director of national intelligence who has been appointed. I don't know this guy. He could be a great human being. I don't know him at all. I know very little about him. All I know is that he has absolutely zero national security or intelligence background whatsoever. And the idea that putting him in charge of the intersection of all these warring bureaucracies, which is what's really going on in the intel community, is a good idea. Here's what he should do. I'm just going to give him a tip. He should get in there, look at the books, and be like, we should shut down the DNI. Shut it down. Tell Congress to defund it. It does not have authority. It is a coordination agency without the power, Clay, to fire or hire or direct resources in any meaningful way. What is it doing? Get rid of it. This is Pulte's his name, right? Mr. Pulte. Look at what you're doing when you become the interim DNI and look around. By the way, this is my pitch to Tulsi too. Tulsi now, God bless, by the way, I know her husband's going through a tough time with the surgery. But this is, we need to actually do some of this stuff now, or at least get this stuff out there, Clay, because we have not cut spending. We have not touched the debt. We have not changed the trajectory. We're just beginning halfway through year 2 to look at the fraud. There is an urgency of doing this stuff while we're in charge. Because, oh my gosh, when those Democrats have the checkbook again, Clay, they love seeing illegal immigrants driving around in Ferraris from running fake autism practices. They love that stuff.
Speaking of being in charge, we should also mention what we talked about yesterday, what I was afraid of. The votes are slowly trickling in California, and they are now continuing to say that it's going to take longer and longer, and guess what's happening? Steve Hilton and Spencer Pratt are going to start to decline, and they're going to try to find a way, because you still have a week for your ballot to get there. They're going to try to find a way to get double Democrats in both runoffs, L.A. mayor and also governor. I'm just telling you, it's going to get, unfortunately, worse and worse and nastier and nastier. This is indefensible that California can take a month to count votes, and it's amazing how the benefit of the counting only goes in one way, isn't it? It's kind of extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. It really is interesting how that happens, Clay. The longer it takes to count the votes, the better it is for the Democrat, it seems. That's, there's something going on there.
That's why the policy's in place.
Yeah. Look, the good news for all of you is that my Knicks won. My beloved Knicks. And I was all wrapped up last night I'm just going to say it, in my cozy earth bubble cuddle blanket with ginger spice and Carrie. And we were watching my Knicks just do phenomenal things. And thankfully, I felt so comfy and warm and cozy in my bubble cuddle blanket, which I have. Producer Allie has one at home. She might even have 2 now because I think the cats have taken over one of them. Point here is Cozy Earth stuff is amazing. The softest, most comfortable blankets, sheets, by the way. Your sheets are probably old. They're probably a little threadbare and not that nice. Get yourself a new pair of Cozy Earth sheets. Bamboo viscose fabric, which vents out the heat that your body emits while you sleep, keeping you cooler. They apply the same technology and thinking from their sheets and blankets to their clothing line. Look, I love their clothing line. You guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen I've been wearing Cozy Earth pants to formal events, but you can also wear them going to the store and doing stuff because they look great, but man, they've got this stretch. They are, guess what, super cozy. Shorts, tops, hoodies, sweats, stuff to work out in. All this at Cozy Earth right now. Your purchase is totally risk-free. You get a 100-day money-back guarantee in addition to a 10-year warranty because they want you totally satisfied. So for the next game, Knicks versus Spurs, go get your bubble cuddle blanket and then get some great sleep in your Cozy Earth sheets. Maybe get yourself a nice robe. You're going to love it. CozyEarth.com. Use my name, Buck, for 20% off your purchase or more, by the way. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure you tell them you heard about it on Clay and Buck. CozyEarth.com, promo code Buck. CozyEarth.com, promo code Buck.
Laugh, learn, hang with the guys. Right there when you need them most. Clay and Buck. Just preset them on the iHeart app.
It's a celebration 250 years in the making.
And we want everyone in America, from Maine to Montana, from Alabama to Alaska, to be a part of it.
This year marks America's 250th anniversary, and we're coming together from coast to coast at star-spangled events, live performances, and the largest day of giving in American history.
Join the nationwide celebration at america250.org.
Deciding on what to listen to is hard. Using Zumo to stream music from iHeart 90s Radio is easy. Or play iHeart Country Classics Radio or Hip Hop Beats. Your choice, all for free. Stream easy with Zumo Play. Get live and on-demand entertainment with no logins, no signups, no accounts, no hassle. Get cozy on the couch and binge your favorite movies like The Cable Guy starring Jim Carrey, The Bounty Hunter starring Jennifer Aniston, and more, all streaming free on Zumo Play. Go to play.zumo.com now. Life is hard. Zumo is easy.
Mom, can I have Lingo Kids? Dad, Lingo Kids, please!
When did we become the Lingo Kids house?
No idea. Last week it was dinosaurs. This week it's...
Lingo Kids!
Why Lingo Kids?
Because it's the best thing ever. We can play games with astronauts, wild animals, and superheroes.
With more than 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows, Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids.
So, no dinosaurs?
And dinosaurs. Lingo Kids!
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
Professional wrestling fans, the action continues every week.
This is total nonstop action.
TNA Thursday Night Impact every week on AMC. For showtimes and more information, visit TNAWrestling.com.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2, Clay and Buck. We are rolling through the program. Hope all of you are having great days wherever you may be across the country. As we continue to deal with Day 3 of the counting, Day 3 going on of counting in California for both the mayor's race and the governor's race. We bring in now Charles Caron. He has been doing and responsible for the pro Spencer Pratt AI ads. And before we dive into those, what motivated you? Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
What led you to decide that you wanted to get involved in speaking out in the LA mayor's race? What kind of relationship, if any, do you have with Spencer Pratt?
I don't have any relationship with Spencer Pratt, but I live in Hollywood. I live in LA, and I have a lot of friends that lost their homes in the Palisades fires, and I have to live in the city, so like I have to deal with the ramifications of the policies here. So, like whether it's just really bad here right now. It's not hyperbole. It's just genuinely pretty awful. Like women don't feel safe walking their kids down the street. There's human feces on the street. There's needles are a common occurrence. If you call the police, you don't know if you're going to get a response or not. And myself and a lot of my friends and basically everyone, if they're being honest, has just kind of had enough of it.
Hey, Charles, it's Buck. Thanks for being here. Those things you described, we've talked about before on the show. And we certainly have a lot of listeners who will call in and tell us about this. But one thing I'm wondering about is, I have heard, for example, I already know that Venice Beach, Santa Monica, which are very expensive places, they have these problems, right? So has this now spread out into most, if not all, of the high rent or higher end neighborhoods, if you will, of Los Angeles proper? Are affected by this stuff? Because that's always a marker, I think, of the decay. Is it just rough areas? Is it everywhere? How widespread is it?
It's everywhere. You can't go down the street without seeing like a homeless encampment of some sort. Like it's everywhere. It's not selective. I think there's probably some very rich, very gated communities that aren't affected by this, and those are I think those are the kinds of people that endorse, like Bass.
They send their staffers to go shop for them and hope they don't get accosted in the parking lot of Erewhon. I know the type.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone else is stuck living in the actual reality. And so those are the people that are voting for Spencer Pratt.
Okay, so you're frustrated. You decided Spencer was someone who was speaking to your frustrations. How did the AI videos come about? Where did the idea come from? How many people are involved? Take me through how this process works, because they have gone so mega viral. I am just utterly fascinated with the story behind them.
Yeah, I mean, so like long story short, I'm a traditional filmmaker, and for like the last 3 years, I've been taking AI video really seriously. It used to be quite rudimentary, but I saw where the puck was going, and I knew that this was going to be the new camera. It was going to democratize filmmaking in the same way that like digital filmmaking did. And so we started Meta Studio to do that. And the idea for us was that there would be no longer a gatekeeper. Like there wouldn't be like a Hollywood gatekeeper to say what movies can and can't get made. And as we were building this out, Spencer started talking the truth, and we were like, okay, what can we do to help him? This needs to happen. And we just started making the ads. It's 4 of us right now. But like we're obviously expanding very quickly. And we just started making them, and they started resonating with people, and we just kept making them.
How many did you make total? Menace Studios, if people didn't hear it, you said there's 4 of you. How many total videos did you guys make? And do you have a sense for how many views those videos got?
Oh man, I'd have to count honestly, because we just kind of riff. Like it's more like a jam band than anything. Like whenever we have an idea, like we'll just jump in a group chat. Like if I make this laugh and then there's some truth to it, we'll make it. And it takes us about anywhere from 3 to 9 hours to make a video. So it's quite quick. And if we go to sleep with an idea and it's still funny to us the next day, we know it's going to be a hit. You know what I mean, kind of thing. And what was the second question? I'm sorry.
I asked how many people, if you knew how many, because I have seen just ones that I have shared have done 5 or 10 million views. So, I mean, this has to be in the hundreds of millions of views for sure, right, of these videos?
It's really hard to quantify the impact because beyond just Twitter, where we've been posting them, like whenever I turn on Fox News or CNN, they're constantly running. Whenever like it's on Joe Rogan, it's on the Tim Dillon podcast, it's on the local news now every day, all the stations. So it's a little overwhelming. Like we knew it was going to be important. We knew what we could do and what we were capable of, but we did not expect it to like reach critical mass quite so quickly. And we have some theories about why that is, but it's been interesting to see for sure.
I'm just curious, and I know, I'm not asking a magician to give us all of his secrets, but maybe I am. How does one learn how to do this? How do you become adept? Like, if I wanted to make a feature-length film about a radio host in middle age who plays the flute shirtless, like, how would I be able to learn to do it at a level that's beyond, right now I use Grok and we'll make some little fun, images and things like that. But, where does one go to sort of acquire the skill set? What tools does one use to make the kind of videos that you're making?
I mean, I think it's a number of things. Like there's like the technical aspect of it, which I think is probably maybe one of the easier things to teach. But the more important one, I think, is just storytelling, and that's at the root of like all human kind of history. And that hasn't really changed. Like that's what makes a good movie. That's what makes a good story. Like as long as there's some truth in it, like at the heart of it, I think that's why the ads have been successful. Like people talk about.
Have you seen, by the way, these YouTubers have made, it's not a AI, it's a movie. But I think this is really also showing people what's possible now, especially with the small clips that will circulate on places like TikTok and things of movies, that this movie Obsession is going to make. I think it cost $750,000 to make, which for a normal Hollywood movie is not even the catering budget, right? I mean, that's truly like not even the catering budget for a full length, like an Avenger style kind of movie. And it's going to make
over $100 million. Yeah.
$250 million globally is the estimate that I've seen. It's made over $100 million already.
It's incredible. And I think this just speaks to like how much change people want. People are tired of the same recycled slop from Hollywood. Like we've seen how many Marvel movies, we've seen how many reboots of, like the same safe brands because like films have to play overseas, like to recoup $100 million budget, or, like they have to be a prestige picture to justify like a spend that if it's going to lose money. But people want new things. And I think that speaks to it. Like, and so that was kind of like one of the reasons why we made Menace, because we were like, okay, when was the last time Hollywood was good? It was like New Hollywood in the 70s, and it came out of the studio system being atrophied and not remembering what made Hollywood good, which was that they made entertainment. And so I think that there's going to be like a profound shift, and I don't think it's just AI. I think it's going to be new things coming through.
I'm curious. Obviously, the response to these videos has been phenomenal, and it has spoken to many different people. I'm sure you saw Doug Ellen, who created Entourage. He went viral talking about how frustrated he was with what LA had become. I'm curious, in the time that you have lived in LA, we stopped making for a long time really funny movies. It became a very censorious culture in Hollywood. It used to be full of eccentrics, people of all different types of backgrounds, crazy beliefs, creative people. Were not a cultural monolith like they have become. Have you seen that progression in the time that you've been in LA? Do you think it is starting to shift? Is the Spencer Pratt campaign reflective of that? Take us into the culture of what you see on the ground and what has helped to make your videos so popular. And is it reflective of a larger wake-up call in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, I think like people miss like, like the 80s, like they miss like when like a kind of Hollywood like produced like a John Milius, like they miss these kinds of movies that Hollywood used to churn out. And I was at the the campaign watch party, like on the night of the election, and everyone there had never been involved in local politics before. Everyone there was just grassroots, excited to do whatever they could within their capacities to like help push the puck forward. And you know, like similar to us. And so I thought that was really exciting that like he's spoken like the truth. He's been like, okay, everyone open your eyes. Let's solve these basic problems of like, you know, like civic competence, you know, and people are just rallying around that. So I think that there is a shift. I don't know on a grander scale what that means yet, but it's obviously shifting.
Well, what you're doing is so cool. I just wonder, do you have, I know this maybe is like asking you, I don't know if you have kids. You seem like a very young guy, Charles, but it's like asking you to pick favorite among your children. Is there one movie that you guys have made though, where you just knew as soon as you let it fly that this thing was going to just boom all over the internet? Was it the, like the Batman LA, crossover thing? Was that the one where you just knew it was going to work? Or do you have one that you're most proud of or you were most excited to release?
I think the Batman one, just because it was the first one, and I knew that it would be popular. I knew that it would be exciting for people because I knew that, like, as I was looking around and kind of getting a gauge of like political messaging today, I was like, oh my gosh, this is all so formulaic. This is all so stale. You know, like it's just a paint by numbers. I was like, let's shake it up a little bit. I think that the technology is there to really be able to like cut through the noise. And I knew that it would be effective. I just did not appreciate how effective it would be.
I just want to tell you, I've made the case on the show, which hopefully you listen to sometimes when you're not making amazing AI movies that are hopefully going to defeat communists in Los Angeles, that political cartoons became really popular and powerful in America in the like really post-Civil War latter half of I've studied propaganda, and so this sort of came up in it. Pre-radio, political cartoons were such an important part of political messaging. And people can even think back to the ones they've seen. I think what you're doing now, by the way, AI for campaigns is the new political cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big inspiration for us. Like when we look back at like was it Thomas Nast who did like the vultures for like Tammany Hall? You know, like when he did
I mentioned the Tammany Hall one, sure.
Okay, yeah. So like, you know, like we're history nerds, so like we study this as well, and like that's kind of what motivates us to do this.
Do you want to make some cool videos for a radio show? Well,
I sent him a message. I would like them to start doing some stuff with us. Do you think you have changed the way that campaigns will be going forward? Because what I love about your videos are, to your point, so many political ads are super boring. They are make you kind of almost fall asleep when you're watching them. Yours are different. They grab you. Do you think you have changed some of the trajectory of future campaigns? And do you think that Republican-leaning campaigns are more likely to be good at this or Democrat-leaning campaigns? So far, Democrats are not great at memeing or humor because humor can be offensive, and it seems like they're worried about hurting people's feelings. How do you see this playing out going forward?
I think we've changed the game. I think that the reason it'll work for the right and that it won't work for the left is that they're effective because there's truth in them. And it doesn't matter whether it's AI that communicates the truth. They resonate with people because they're speaking to something true. And to your point, the left can't meme because they need to prevent all this context and like language games to kind of foo-foo away what people are seeing with their own eyes. And we don't have to do that.
Are you nervous about how long it's taken to count? Have you talked to Spencer Pratt and his team? This is day 3. It's ridiculous. Are you going to make a video mocking how long the counting is taking?
That's like kind of beyond my wheelhouse. Like as a filmmaker, I don't know enough about the intricacies of like local municipal politics and like vote counting. I hope that whatever needs to be searched to make sure that it's fair does get searched. But beyond that, I don't have really an intelligent answer on that one.
Well, we appreciate you making the time for us. I know that you've been getting a lot of media requests. Is there anything we haven't asked you that you would like to tell this audience to kind of introduce yourself?
No, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Cool. Charles Curran has done amazing work, and maybe we'll find some jobs for him to do with the radio show, because I think he could probably do a phenomenal job with that as well. Those videos have been so impactful. Look, I've got a life hack for all of you. Chalk natural supplements, great in so many ways. Pre-workout formula, Chad mode. Buck uses that all the time. And you can also go find an all natural testosterone boost. It'll give you 20% increase in your testosterone in as little as 3 months. All natural. Again, they also have a female vitality stack. Get hooked up. Feel better. Spring special. When you subscribe with my name, Clay, Chalk will pack a free $99 bag of chocolate powder for you with your first delivery. Go to chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Code Clay. Chalk.com. Code CLAY.
It's like having your house at the perfect temperature all the time. Preset Clay and Buck on the iHeart app.
Welcome in, hour number 3. Clay and Buck rolling through the Thursday edition of the program. We head up to D.C. right now, where there is major decisions to be made on a variety of different fronts as we come into the summer season here before we get into the fall campaign season. We are joined now by House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Republican from Louisiana. A lot of different stories that are out there. Let me start with this. I saw where President Trump just posted that he supported Senator Cruz and Senator Cantwell's college bill on the Senate side. I know that you guys have been working on the SCORE Act on the other side in the House. What, for people out there that like college athletics, is there a method in your mind by which the Senate bill could pass the House if it got there? If not, what is the scenario? What is the situation? There's a lot of us like me who are big-time college sports fans. What's going to happen here from your perspective?
Yeah, well, first, Clay and Buck, thank y'all for having me. And obviously, there are a lot of people that care about college athletics, and anybody following it knows it's just evolved into the wild, wild west, primarily because over years, lawsuits have been filed and lost by the NCAA to the point where there is no enforcement mechanism for college athletics. And so you don't have any ability. You can have 28-year-olds playing against 17-year-olds, kids on their sixth school, playing 8 years later. And, so what we ended up having was a situation where a lot of the different schools, conferences, coaches started coming to us probably in the last 2 years and said, can y'all help? Congress needs to step in to give the kind of antitrust protection so that the schools can govern themselves again. So that was really the genesis of the problem. I had Nick Saban in my office a couple of years ago and a few times since, as well as others that all recognize, look, we can fight it out on the football field or the basketball court, but can we at least get the ability to govern the schools again and bring structure and protect the student athlete, by the way, because, Clay, a lot of these young kids in high school are being poached by unscrupulous people as agents that are, taking 10, 15, 20% when the going rate is 5% for an agent, things like that. So we put together a bill, and the House and Senate, I don't think, are too far apart, but on some key issues, there are some differences that need to get worked out. But I met with President Trump, and President Trump wants the House and Senate to work through this to fix the problem. He cares about college athletics like we do. And so let's make sure we can let the schools govern themselves, give protections to the student athletes that they don't have right now. NIL is already there. We're not talking about whether or not to pay student athletes. They can get paid for their name, image, and likeness, but have some structure to protect them, give them financial literacy so they don't blow the money, protect them from people that might be posing as agents who aren't. We cap agents' fees at 5%, really good protection for the student athlete. One thing that a lot of schools and student athletes told us is they don't want to be forced into being employees of the school and then ultimately being unionized. And that's one of the big differences between the House and Senate bill that's got to get fixed. But you also right now are in a situation in the Senate. In the House bill, and look, whose bill it is, I don't really care. Whose name, we'll name it after Nick Saban or anybody else. But I appreciate that people want to fix the problem, but we need to fix it the right way so that you don't have a situation where colleges are going bankrupt trying to run athletic programs. And so I think we have some things to work out. That's what Congress needs to do, is go fix some of these problems and then get these protections so that we can maintain good, strong college athletics going forward with all the conferences. By the way, right now you've got the two major conferences in college sports, the Big Ten and SEC, opposed to the Senate bill. So you can't have a credible fix to college athletics with a bill that is opposed by the two biggest college athletic conferences. Let's work together with everybody and get this done the right way.
It sounds to me, and I'll let Buck dive into other issues, but this is one that I've, been following pretty closely, so I appreciate you on this coming on. It sounds to me like your position is not the Senate bill, closer to the House bill. We need some sort of synthesis between these two bills in order for it to pass the House. Is that a fair approximation?
And it's really to address the issues that the schools came to us on. This isn't something where Congress woke up one day and said, we want to get involved in college athletics. Obviously, we've got a lot of other issues we're dealing with, and we're doing that. We're dealing with some bills on fraud prevention this week, on funding the Department of Homeland Security. But I think most people also care about college athletics, and the schools came to us and said, we've got a problem. And the only solution, because of lawsuits, the president did some good executive orders, but even President Trump acknowledged Congress needs to fix these final pieces. And so let's fix them in a way where it includes all of the schools. It can't be pitting some schools against other, big schools against small schools. This is not a problem that only applies to certain types of schools. I mean, you had everybody from the biggest conferences to the smallest conferences to all of the HBCUs who came to us with the same problem. So let's have a solution that solves it for everybody.
Leader Scalise, appreciate you being here. What can get done? That's probably a question you get asked a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of questions start that way when you're in Congress. So what can get done before the summer recess, if anything? And what are you hoping, more importantly, is on the realistic agenda here before the midterm election?
Yeah, Clay, the biggest issue that...
Oh, no, I'm Buck. The other guy's Clay. Buck is the one who asked the salty questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, good. The biggest problem that they need Congress's help with is antitrust protection because of court decisions that have come, and you just saw it in the last few months. Some student athlete is, maybe in his sixth year at a school, and he wants to play another year that used to not be allowed. Well, NCAA says you can't play, so he goes to a state judge, and the state judge is going to rule in favor of the state school. And then next thing you know, NCAA has no ability to enforce anything anymore. And so they need antitrust protection so you don't have a state-by-state hodgepodge of rules that cannot be enforced. That's the biggest thing. So let's
Leader Scalise, I mean beyond the scope of college athletics, what can you get done in Congress?
Well, we're working, like I said,
the other things
on the Department of Homeland Security, which is really important. We've seen threats and attacks on our homeland recently that have been stopped by that department. They do important work. The agency's not fully funded. I think by the end of this week, we could have a bill that fully funds the Department of Homeland Security. We're working on some other bills that would go deeper into fraud prevention. I met yesterday with Dr. Oz, who's doing a great job over at CMS. He's identified close to $100 billion of fraud. I'm talking theft of taxpayer money in programs like hospice care and durable medical equipment, where people are just going, oh, let's give all this money to healthcare, and then you find out international criminal organizations are setting up phony companies and stealing your tax money because it's that easy to do because there's not fraud prevention measures, and we need to put those in law. So a lot of us are working with agencies like CMS to help root out more fraud, because then you can put that money into the places where it belongs, help people that have true needs in healthcare, as opposed to a lot of them are foreign countries that are setting up these shell corporations, stealing billions of tax dollars. So we're focusing on things like that. Obviously working on more energy production, trying to lower costs, make housing more affordable. We have a really good housing bill right now that's moving through the House and the Senate. They're in final negotiations. I think you could get a bill signed by the president in the next few weeks on housing that would lower housing costs for Americans. And that's something that matters to everybody, whether you're a first-time home buyer or somebody with an existing home looking to upgrade or downsize. So we're working on that right now. It's nonstop, but I think there's a lot of things we can do before we get to, what is the August recess, where people go back to their districts in an election year, and you're then everybody's running for re-election.
We're talking to House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. I'm sure you're paying at least a little bit of attention to what's going on in California. President Trump is saying we got to get the SAVE Act passed. California is about to be in its third day. I guess they're in their third day now, counting votes. It doesn't seem to be happening at all. They still have millions of votes outstanding. How do we get this fixed? It's frustrating, I think, certainly to people who are listening to us and voters in California. But this story right now and how bad California is voting, it's really getting a lot of attention nationwide. Are you as frustrated as we are?
This is a national embarrassment. Everybody in the country ought to be looking at this saying, most states, if the polls close on 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night, by 9:30, everybody's got their state returns in. And if you're days later, weeks later, in California and New York, it was 3 weeks later in some cases, and they were still, quote unquote, counting ballots. I think it raises a lot of questions, and it makes people question the integrity of the vote count when you're seeing them finding boxes of ballots weeks later. Is that really right and fair? And so we've got to fix that. The Save America Act, as you mentioned, is a great solution that says just two basic things. Prove your citizenship to register to vote, and when you go to vote, you show a picture ID. Is that really complicated? You can't get on an airplane without showing an ID. You can't go buy a six-pack of beer without showing an ID. Why not the franchise of American democracy? You show an ID so that we can make sure that illegals aren't voting, people that are not fraudulently voting. And then shouldn't we be able to have election night be election night and not, look, California 3 days later, they're not even at 50% on many of these races of the ballots in. Well, where are those ballots? Who's got the ballots? It's unreal that in today's age, with all the technology you have available, that they're going to tell you it's going to take weeks. In the 1800s, they could count ballots the same day.
No doubt. Majority Leader Steve Scalise, we appreciate the time, sir. Keep up the fight there, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, thank you all for having me. Appreciate it, Clay and Buck.
Thank you. Look, I want to tell you right now, it's awful in Israel and has been since October 7th, 2023, when it comes to just being safe, just knowing that there's not going to be missiles raining down, all sorts of issues that are going on there. It's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, you know what they do? They build bomb shelters. They help hospitals build underground ability to take care of everybody because, unfortunately, you've got missiles and bombs raining down up above ground. They also do a great job of helping to take care of people who are driving vehicles that may be in danger, trying to be first responders and serve and protect so many people all over Israel. If you're listening to us right now, it's an American-based organization that's designed to bring Christians and Jews together and build a bridge of connection between the U.S. and Israel. IFCJ uses every donated dollar by you in the most productive, helpful ways. Right now, they're inviting you to leave a personal prayer or a message of encouragement that will be delivered directly to someone in Israel who needs hope. It'll be personally delivered by the IFCJ. More than just support, this is standing with Israel when it matters most. Go to prayifcj.org to submit your prayer today. That's prayifcj.org.
Level up your brain. Mental mugging with Clay and Buck.
It's a celebration 250 years in the making.
And we want everyone in America, from Maine to Montana, from Alabama to Alaska, to be a part of it.
This year marks America's 250th anniversary, and we're coming together from coast to coast at Star-Spangled events, live performances, and the largest day of giving in American history.
Join the nationwide celebration at america250.org.
Deciding on what to listen to is hard. Using Zumo to stream music from iHeart 90s Radio is easy. Or play iHeart Country Classics Radio or Hip Hop Beats. Your choice, all for free. Stream easy with Zumo Play. Get live and on-demand entertainment with no logins, no signups, no accounts, no hassle. Get cozy on the couch and binge your favorite movies like Awakenings starring Robert De Niro, Looper starring Bruce Willis, and more. All streaming free on Zumo Play. Go to play.zumo.com now. Life is hard. Zumo is easy.
With my mom and dad living in Orange County, when we bring my 5- and 7-year-old to visit, we are sometimes in for a 2-hour drive that could feel like 10.
Oh, as an avid camper, I know all about this. We'll pack up the RV and know this is either going to be the trip of a lifetime or a complete disaster.
Which is why we load up the iPads with Lingo Kids before we even pull out of the driveway.
It's what dreams are made of. Lingo Kids keeps kids engaged and quiet with over 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows that kids simply cannot get enough of.
You can pack whatever you think you'll need, but Lingo Kids is the only entertainment you'll need for a stress-free car ride.
Or really, any ride. Plane, train, hovercraft, whatever.
Download Lingo Kids for free today.
Or unlock even more amazing content with Lingo Kids Plus.
Choose the yearly plan and save up to 60%. Search Lingo Kids in the App Store or Google Play.
Lingo Kids, everything kids love.
Professional wrestling fans, the action continues every week.
This is total nonstop action.
TNA Thursday Night Impact every week on AMC. For showtimes and more information, visit TNAWrestling.com.
Welcome back in, Clay and Buck. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. We got a cool guest here in studio for a couple of segments with us. He is Brad Thor, best-selling author. How many books have you sold? What is that? It's got to be
it's in the tens of millions.
Tens
I'm
of
sure.
millions.
Yeah.
Tens of millions. Not a bad spot to be. You got a brand new book. Let me make sure that I get Choke Point. And you now live in Nashville. Buck and I and you were all talking during the commercial break. There goes the book.
Flying off the shelves already.
Yeah. Buck, you have known Brad for a long time. We were talking about all the different awesome books and programs and entertainment that he's been involved in. I'll let you introduce when you guys first met, and then we'll dive into all the things he's doing now.
So when I first got out of the agency and Glenn Beck hired me, so apparently Glenn Beck was doing his recruiting out of the CIA. He brought me, which I'm sure now he does not remind everybody of, but, he was, when he started the Blaze, it was just really cool because it was a multimedia, multi-platform company that wanted to bring in everything, right? It wasn't just commentators. It was obviously great authors. It was, people who were doing creative stuff. And so that was when I first met Brad Thor. And I remember, I think I did either a hit with Brad on Glenn's show or a panel. And afterwards, a couple of the guys in the Blaze newsroom were like, dude, that was so cool. You got to do the show with Brad Thor. And I was like, whoa. And then I, of course, looked into his books and, Lines of Lucerne and et cetera, et cetera. And now he's like, he's one of those names. He's one of those people that the bookstore has got so many of his books and they've
27 books. I was just doing the research here.
27. Listen, before we go any further, I just have to say how proud I am of you guys and how you've been killing it.
Thanks.
And, Rush had me on his show several times and just such a great guy and in the newsletter and all that kind of stuff. And I can remember when we first moved here and Rush giving me a call and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think they could have handed it to more capable or more talented hands. So you guys are killing it. Great job.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You have moved to Nashville.
We are having fun, and neither of us are clinically insane. So those are differentiating factors these days.
Crazily, that is an important differentiating factor, the mere sanity. You moved to Nashville 12 years ago. You were ahead from Chicago. You were ahead of the curve.
Yep.
Why did you make the move?
Well, my taxes kept going up in Chicago. I did conservative drive time radio as a guest and sometimes a fill-in on WLS in Chicago. And I had people calling in when I started saying, I think I'm going to leave. I've worked on enough campaigns. I've tried to get things to change. They haven't put in a Republican administration in Chicago in, well over 100 years. And people said, oh, you're chickening out. You're running away. And I said, guys, listen, at some point it was okay for Rihanna to leave Chris Brown, right? Tina had to leave Ike. Rihanna left Chris. I felt like I was on this island that was being swallowed up by the ocean because the gangs were getting so bad. I had to tell our babysitter, you can't take the kids to the beach, to the zoo, all that. And I'm paying more and more money for less and less enjoyment. In Chicago, my wife had some health issues. I was worried that she was going to be a target for muggings. And I said, and they wouldn't let me carry a gun. So I said, up yours, we're leaving. And, we moved down here and it's been great. It was a great place to raise our children. No income tax. States run very, very well. And, we love it here.
Yes. I will say you picked one of the two places that I think Americans realize these days you can achieve that level of freedom. We do love Texas, but the problem with Texas is a lot of people end up I know this because my brother actually, Brad, went through this during the pandemic. He was kind of the a la carte pioneer going to check out the different, and he checked out this lovely little place of Austin, Texas. which does have some great restaurants and barbecue and all this sort of stuff.
But no plastic grocery bags.
Yeah.
You get the blue governance in the middle of the very red state, whereas at least in Nashville, the surrounding area, now, believe it or not, here in Miami and the surrounding area, you have sane governance for the city in a sane state.
Yeah, it made all the difference to us to get out, and our kids understood why we were moving. We luckily moved them young in grade school, so that worked. And we've never looked back. I mean, everything, the property taxes are less here. The only thing that's comparable to Chicago is the sales tax here, but that's it. And we were used to paying that there. So this has just it's been great for freedom. It's been great for my business and great for my family.
When we come back, we're going to ask you all about what it's like to not only be an author, but to be working to try to turn those books into multimedia projects and movies and television and more. But Buck, you take us to break.
Sabre, my friends, we're just talking about Chicago. If you're in any city anywhere in the country, you have to find ways to keep yourself, your family safe. And there's some places where, by the way, they don't even allow you to conceal carry. And it's basically impossible. So non-lethal options make so much sense. In some cases, they're a complete necessity. But even if you have, if you're a 2A person and you live in a rural area, you live in a place where you're in the suburbs, you don't think about crime that often, home invasions happen. Sabre Smart Pepper Spray is just something you should have. Think of it as part of your force escalation toolkit. The best non-lethals you can get come from Sabre. The Sabre Smart Pepper Spray right now is available on Amazon, and it notifies other family members if you have to deploy it. So people get a heads up about this if it is used in defense. It's a brilliant, brilliant tool. Search Sabre Smart Pepper Spray on Amazon to get it today. Again, so easy. Get it delivered to your house in the next 24 hours. Sabre Smart on Amazon. I got to say, I love the rejoin music being an homage to Beverly Hills Cop, one of the 10 best movies of the 80s. I don't care what Clay Travis says about it.
10. I think you said 5 before, and I was like, that's aggressive. 10 is a little bit more buffer.
Okay. I think 10 is like a gimme. That's easy. So I'd say top 10 movies of the 80s. But we had that one there. We're sitting here, by the way, we're talking about, with Brad Thor, of course, author of so many books.
27 bestsellers.
We got a huge audience of radio listeners who are also a huge audience of Brad Thor readers. His latest, Brad Thor Choke Point. Well, it's Brad Thor because he wrote it. Choke Point, #1 New York Times bestselling author. Well, we're talking about all this fun stuff, by the way, because we're like, oh man, who's going to be in the series or who's going to be in the movie and all this. We can get into that in a second. Brad, though, because he's a practitioner, he's a guy who likes to get into the research, and he's done some work in the intel community before himself. He's like, wait, I want to weigh in on the DNI stuff. And I'm sitting here and
he heard us having our super, you and Norm having your super nerdy conversation.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm just like, are we going to get like Taylor Kitsch to be in the movie, or like, I want to talk cool Hollywood celebrity stuff, Navy SEALs fighting on the screen and all this, everything else. And he wants to talk DNI. So by all means, Mr. Thor, you what do you think about the current state of the intel community?
Well, listen, I think we spent a lot of money solving a legit problem, but we oversolved the problem with the ODNI, right? It's like DHS. I've never been a huge fan of DHS, even though that's where I did do the analytic red cell unit and things like that. I thought your answer to Norm was good, #1, because listen, governments are made up of people and no organization is perfect. They have problems. I'll give you all of that. But I don't think that the DNI is pushing up garbage to give to the president as part of the PDB, every single day. But the issue, as you know, Buck, probably better than anybody because you worked at the agency, is the stovepiping, right? Is how much stuff just kind of went up and down, or basically up at Langley, whether it just, ended up at the 7th floor and didn't get disseminated. That's the problem. That's what the DNI was supposed to solve, is that the agency shared information. So, Negroponte, the big insider thing that most of the people in the intel community used to know is Negroponte would go out, the first guy that ran that office, he'd go to these 3-hour lunches and get a massage. I mean, it was unbelievable how little time that guy was actually in the office, and it kind of gives you a hint as to how important was it in a lot of agencies, and I'm sure Buck knows this as well, have put some good people there, but it's also a graveyard where they also stick some people that aren't so good, that they don't want in headquarters and shove them over there. So it was set up to solve a communication problem, so we didn't end up with guys that were taking flight lessons that didn't want to know how to land the plane, and that information wasn't getting shared around. So could we do without it? it? Yeah, we probably could do without it. Is Pulte the guy to lead it? Absolutely not. The job description is very clear that you have to have Intel experience. But the way that the Federal Vacancy Reform Act is written is that he gets to be there 210 days. President Trump gets to put up one person for confirmation. If that person bombs, then Pulte gets an automatic next 210 days, and then President Trump could put up a second person, and if that guy bombs at the Senate, he gets 210 more. So this guy's basically got the job if he wants it, and if the president chooses to keep him in it for the rest of the administration.
All right, so that was a very astute, excellent nerd analysis of the
It's my
entire
baseball. I mean, I know Clay is the sports guy, but this is my politics is my baseball.
This is like your Buck's in heaven right now.
We sit here all day and be like, hey, what do you think about the change from the National Clandestine Service back to the Directorate of Operations? No, we're going to talk about your cool book and Hollywood stuff here for a second so that we have all of our listeners staying with us. You are, right now, tell us which one of your projects is the furthest along. I know you've got multiple that are optioned and licensed and all that sort of stuff. I feel like Ari from Entourage right now. I'm like, we got a lot of stoves in the,
Well, he just mentioned. Listen
that's
to
who
this.
I'm in business with. I'm in business with Ari Emanuel's son, Ezra, who is business partners with Pete Berg, the producer-director, and Pete did Lone Survivor. We were talking about that off Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
Was Pete American Primeval on Netflix right now with Taylor Kitsch? That's Pete's. And so they're taking my book. I did my first co-written thriller this year with a great writer, a veteran named Ward Larson. And Ward and I wrote something called Cold Zero, and Pete loved it. And Netflix is turning it into this massive, big budget thriller that they're calling a bigger, more badass Hunt for Red October.
That has to be so much fun. Now, I want to dive into a couple of these guys. You mentioned Pete Berg. Friday Night Lights, Buck and I have talked about. I think it's the best broadcast drama that's ever aired. I mean, if you haven't watched Friday Night Lights, put it on your list. Whole family can watch it. You can watch it with your wife. Even if you don't love football, you'll love this show. But Nick Pizzolatto, and I may be mispronouncing. Pizzolatto, is the True Detective guy.
He created True Detective, and he also adapted the Magnificent Seven screenplay,
which is a
Japanese.
pretty good variety.
Yeah.
So what is it like working with those guys?
They're awesome. You know what I didn't know about Pete Berg? His dad was also a Marine, like my dad. And that was the first thing when Pete introduced himself to me. He said, we have something in common. And he started with that. And I said, well, Marcus Luttrell is also a good buddy of mine, and you did his movie Lone Survivor. So we found we had all these connections and stuff. Pizzolatto's amazing because True Detective, that first season with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey.
It's unbelievable how good that is.
And Colin Farrell. Season 2 was fantastic. Yes. And I love Arctic stuff. So I even love the Jodie Foster, Night, whatever it was called.
My wife has watched all of the True Detectives.
They're good.
And I remember it crashed the HBO app. Yeah. The first season of True Detective when people tried to get on for the final episode. Do you remember that, Buck? It crashed. You couldn't get on HBO.com because so many people were trying to watch the final episode.
So he's the screenwriter. So he's writing the movie for Cold Zero. And so as we were talking about off air, I'm hoping to see the script. I'll bring an extra copy. We can sit outside, have a
I was going to say,
and,
Clay and I are available when those directors' chairs are on the set, and we'll even yell cut for you. This is part of our learning so we can talk to our audience about this stuff and bring everybody into,
you should do a remote from the,
it would be fun.
From the movie.
By the way, Buck and I have both written books. You've written 27. I'm curious. What is your writing process? There's probably a ton of people out there listening right now who have a thriller in the back of their mind or have a goal to write something. What is your writing day to day? How do you go about putting together a story? What do you do? How do you write it?
So there's two types of writers. You've either got an outliner or what we call a pantser, which is flying by the seat of your pants. Now I'm a pantser because I want to have the same experience writing this that you have reading it, where I don't know what's going to happen next, and then I get 4 ideas and I throw those out. Because if those are the first 4 that come into my mind, they're probably the first 4 to come into yours. So it's all about self-discipline, though. Seat of pants, the seat of chair. You can't edit what hasn't been written, and you just got to sit there and you got to bang it out. And that's what I do. I try to get through that first draft as solid as I can and as quickly as possible, and then go back and edit. I don't edit a word until it's done because that's a trap. That's a loop, particularly with fiction. You can get just stuck trying to get the perfect sentence out of page 1, and you'll spend forever on it. You'll never get the book done.
So your Cold Zero book, which you co-authored with Ward Larson, CIA operative, not named Buck Sexton, which is a little disappointing, but a CIA, I mean, you do have a great name. You got a buddy here. You got a guy you could, anyway, I'm sure that he has, There's some things that are totally borrowed from true life there. He's battling the elements and rival superpowers to secure world-altering AI technology. Speak to me about this for a second. I think we could call you a mega author. You're in the mega author category. Now you're with the Clancys and the Crichtons and the Clay. Who's the one who does all the legal?
John Grisham.
Grisham. Yeah. Thank you, Grisham and Scott Turow, that kind of stuff. So you're in that echelon now. By the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you think about what AI is going to do? I saw something yesterday that Amazon has seen a 40% increase in the last year in self-published books. And let me tell you, this isn't all people that just decided to write the great American novel the hard way. People are having AI write books for them now. What does this do to the industry? How do you see that playing out?
They all suck.
Yeah.
They all suck.
Well, that's true.
AI is not, it is such a misnomer. It's like Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is about as federal as Federal Express. So this idea that artificial intelligence, there is no intelligence. There's no human spark there. It is a glorified search engine that finds stuff and it gobbles everything up on the internet and it gives you the average of what it finds. So I've played with it and said, give me a plot. And it's so bad. I'd be laughed out of my editor's office. There's no way that AI is coming for my job anytime soon. It's terrible when it comes to artistic things with the human experience in it.
Ideas. You've written 27 books. That's a lot. I'm sure some of them seem like they're ripped from the headlines because you're aware and you're constantly, as you've been explaining on the show, you're paying attention to current events and everything else. How many do you think you can do? Do you ever sit and think, hey, I'm tapped out? Do you ever feel as if you can't? Where do the ideas come from at this point?
I can tell you about Choke Point, which comes out June 16th. So great name. I picked it in September. Cause it was Untitled 25 at that time. And by the way, if you haven't read a Brad Thor book before, I tell people they're like the James Bond movies. You can go and see the latest Bond movie.
You can jump in without having read the previous ones.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been fascinated with the Chinese. They do this thing in real life called the Belt and Road Initiative, where they go into countries and say, your port system could be better. We'll pay for it and help you spruce it up, or your rail system. And it's the camel's nose in the tent. And all of a sudden the Chinese are exerting influence on foreign policy, domestic policy, blah, 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 blah. The Chinese in real life went to Thailand and said, we want to carve this canal across the southern portion of Thailand, because we're afraid of the U.S. Navy closing off the Strait of Malacca, and then we can't get out of the South China Sea into the Indian Ocean. And Thailand told them to go pound sand. So I said, what if the Chinese decided to come into Thailand and foment a military coup? Last one in Thailand was 2013, 2014. And what if, to hide their fingerprints, they took a disillusioned American veteran and used him to be the guy stirring the pot and creating all the chaos in Thailand? What might that look like? And what option might the president in my fictional world, if you gave him 5 different things, what option might he engage in to make sure this stopped and didn't happen? Because the Chinese would, if they were successful, it would really erode American naval power, particularly in the Indo-Pacific. And so this is a spy novel set in Bangkok, and the Chinese are bombing and killing Americans and doing all this terrible stuff. But it's fun. It's short, 3-page chapters, and you get through it really fast. But it's based on a real world geopolitical thing.
Brad, you're far too successful, and the audience loves you too much, and this has been too fun of an interview. So I'm going to ask you now about Iran. Womp womp. It's just going too well. We gotta throw something your way. Is this going okay? Where do you think this is? I spoke to some White House folks when I was in D.C. They seem unbothered by this. I'm sure you've written about Iran stuff, obviously, in the past. And you write fiction, but it's all informed, of course, by the reality and the geopolitical realities that we face, as well as the combat and tactical realities. So when you see this thing, and you've done Red Cell for the intel community before, what do you think about how this is playing out right now?
Well, listen, anything that puts a little daylight between Netanyahu and Trump, I like. So the fact that allegedly they're bickering or arguing in the background, I actually think is a really good thing. So that's number one. Number two, I worry about what options the president has to declare victory and climb out of this, which I think we'd all like to see. I don't want another service member injured, killed. I don't care if it's on a base in Kuwait or it's on one of the ships that's over there. I want us out of this thing as quickly as possible. And I think we ought to give President Trump the grace and the space to get out, which would be fantastic. I think we've proven something that had not been proven before, which is that the Iranians can close that strait if they want to. I kind of wish we hadn't allowed them to test it and do it, but we are where we are, right? And you what was that? There was the old Schwarzkopf thing, I think. You go to war with the army you have, not the one you wish you had. We've got the situation on the ground in the water that we have.
I think that was Rumsfeld.
Rumsfeld, sorry, you're right. It wasn't Schwarzkopf. It was Rumsfeld. Known unknowns.
Just nerding out here.
Yeah. So, listen, I think the sooner President Trump can declare victory and get out, he will. I think what this current White House is discovering is that as much as you might not have liked the JCPOA and unfreezing Iranian assets and stuff, it might be very difficult to come to it. Everybody, no matter, even if Trump had to give him one Dixie cup full of lemonade, everybody's going to say Trump made a worse deal than Obama. There's no media outlet that's going to be fair to him in it. So, I don't know how you prep the president to be successful, because that's what his brand is, a success. He got into this not to take us to war. I think he really believed a lot of the BS he got from the Israelis, that this thing could be over quickly and all that kind of stuff. So, Buck, it's a really hard question. I don't know. And as many NSC people as I still have relationships with, they are extremely tight-lipped on what's going on behind closed doors. And, one day the negotiations are going great. Next day we're bombing them. I think anybody who says they know what's going on really doesn't know.
Yeah.
I think
and nobody wants to get on the wrong side of the big guy for even 1 second. So that means that people are very, very cautious about what they're willing to say, even to trusted folks. Brad Thor, Choke Point, everybody get the book. Brad, if you ever just want to call and rap about the interagency coordination process for national intelligence assessments and how the NSA needs to stop the continued stovepiping from DIA, we can do this all day. So you just call me anytime. We'll rap on it, but we'd love to have you here. And Clay obviously wants to go hang out on the movie set and meet all the celebrities. So maybe I'll tag along for that too. But congrats on all your success. Congrats on Choke Point coming out soon. Going to be a #1 New York Times once again, I am sure. And people should go get it. And they should watch Cold Zero.
That'll be the next Netflix movie, and Sony's developing the Scott Harvath books into a television series. So we got both.
Clay's gonna hit the stack hard and get that 6-pack and those biceps going so that he can be in the next Cold Zero. He's already told me this, so it's gonna be great.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Thanks, guys.
All right. How many of your friends and family have been victims of someone hacking into their email accounts or gaining access to a credit card? Online identity theft continues to be a real problem. Data breaches make this a real issue. Cyber hacker breaks into a company's system, one that you might be buying stuff from, and your data is stolen. You don't get a call or email. You find out the hard way when your data is suddenly being used by a scam artist. Cyber threats are everywhere. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for identity threats, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. And LifeLock alerts you right away if anything pops up. You get a text message, a phone call, an email. They're quick to track you down and get you involved. If you do become a victim of identity theft, you get your own restoration specialist who will fix identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So if your money is stolen or you need coverage for personal expenses or lost wages due to identity theft, LifeLock has your back. I've had LifeLock protection for years. It's a great investment. Join now, save 30% off your first year with promo code BUCK. Call 1-800-LifeLock or go to lifelock.com and use promo code BUCK for 30% off. Terms apply.
Miss the show while you're on the go? Wind down your day with the Daily Review podcast. Find it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcast.
It's a celebration 250 years in the making.
And we want everyone in America, from Maine to Montana, from Alabama to Alaska, to be a part of it.
This year marks America's 250th anniversary, and we're coming together from coast to coast at Star-Spangled events, live performances, and the largest day of giving in American history.
Join the nationwide celebration at america250.org.
Deciding on what to listen to is hard. Using Zumo to stream music from iHeart 90s Radio is easy. Or play iHeart Country Classics Radio or Hip Hop Beats. Your choice, all for free. Stream easy with Zumo Play. Get live and on-demand entertainment with no logins, no signups, no accounts, no hassle. Get cozy on the couch and binge your favorite movies like Awakenings starring Robert De Niro, Looper starring Bruce Willis, and more. All streaming free on Zumo Play. Go to play.zumo.com now. Life is hard. Zumo is easy.
Mom, can I have Lingo Kids? Dad, Lingo Kids, please!
When did we become the Lingo Kids house?
No idea. Last week it was dinosaurs. This week it's...
Lingo Kids!
Why Lingo Kids?
Because it's the best thing ever. We can play games with astronauts, wild animals, and superheroes. superheroes.
With more than 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows, Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids.
So, no dinosaurs?
And dinosaurs. Lingo Kids.
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
Professional wrestling fans, the action continues every week. Watch TNA Thursday Night Impact every week on AMC.
It is like electricity flowing through your veins.
Don't miss the adrenaline, the drama, and the total non-stop action.
No one can ever be as good as this right here.
Don't miss the action of TNA Thursday Night Impact every week on AMC. For showtimes and more information, visit TNAWrestling.com.